Tonight.
Don't see him. Okay, we'll
Continue.
move on. He may appear later. Next, we have a matter under personnel. Mrs. Nikki Parker to present an item under personnel.
Good morning. President Graham, other board members. I'm before you requesting approval to renew with our current provider with United Healthcare. Renewal consisting of a 13.9 premium increase from our current premiums for health, for our hospitalization for our employees.
Mr. President, I'd like to move that we work to have a month-to-month coverage on this health insurance until we're able to really get a good RFP out there and get more than one party to submit a bid on. We only have one bid, right? One proposal.
One self-funded, yes, sir. I mean, one fully funded, I'm sorry.
And from what I can gather, there's a good-sized increase in the premium for that, almost $500,000, $440,000. And I think that's too much to just pay someone because nobody else sent anything in. And there's some questions as to what went out and how it went out. So I'd like to move that we initiate efforts to have a month-to-month coverage and that we resubmit for proposals.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second? Mr. Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I sat down with Ms. Parker and Ms. Davis and discussed this policy process. Is there a month-to-month service available?
I would have to check with the company and also with legal.
Because I have the same serious concerns about that much increase with only one quote.
Okay. I do know that legal has been looking into this with Mrs. Davis. Peter, can you weigh in on this as to have you had an opportunity to look at the contract, or either you, Mrs. Anthony?
The position of legal on this matter is too late. It's too late in the game right now. We recommend to stay with the current provider for this particular cycle. And in January, we've spoken with Ms. Parker to start earlier to look at other vendors and see if we can't get a better deal for the county. But at this point where we are right now, there's nothing we can do but stay the course with the current provider at this point in time.
What are the consequences?
Consequences in terms of what?
Consequences of not doing anything.
We won't have any insurance for the employees behind that.
Okay, and the consequences of doing it would be a $500,000 increase, or around $440,000.
My understanding is there is an increase, but I do understand that the county has been negotiating to mitigate that increase and get it down somewhat, but there will be an increase this coming year.
Okay. Go ahead, Supervisor.
Mr. President, I have a recommendation. And I know we had people few different people who met. I don't know what that means in terms of where we at now. But I think what legal's saying is too late to do anything else. Otherwise, our employees won't have any insurance. And we got to make sure employees have insurance. Mr. President, I'm going to just throw it out before I make a motion. I think that the Board of Supervisors should eat all of this. We can't give employees a raise and then come back and take the raise with insurance. And that's what they told us, and that's what they think that we do. We play this old game with them, give them a raise, but you eat up with insurance. I made a proposal some weeks ago that we use the SWAT money to help senior citizens with their homes. I'm proposing today that we take our SWAT money and we use that to pay the difference with the insurance if it's legal, because the employees got to have insurance. And I'm going to ask our financial advisor, whether or not it's legal that we can use the swap money for that purpose.
Okay, let me do this. Let me dispose of Dr. Walker's motion, and then we'll have you to make an amended motion or a substitute motion that's related. His does not pass. So Dr. Walker has made a motion, and now we're looking for a second.
But I thought Supervisor Hunter had seconded it. I could be wrong.
I didn't second.
I just didn't have it.
Okay.
Well, here's the concern. Although legal has said that we have no choice at this point, has a call been made to see if there can be a month-to-month? And so maybe in the absence of a call having been made, it's premature to say that we have no choice. And we're going to come back in open session after the executive session, and in the interim, maybe a call could be made to them as to feasibility.
Let me go ahead and nip this right now. Legal has now made a call, and we're not going to. I thought Mr. Salmon made it clear, but I'll make it even clearer. We are so late in this process, we cannot give you good legal counsel and trying to sort this out between October 1 and November 30th for a process that started before we came on board. Our recommendation is that you do something to make sure the employees are covered, and that in this current fiscal year where you have hired us, we start this process in January as opposed to next summer. Now, I certainly, if you want to direct the county administrator to make that call and see whether they're willing to do so, that's fine. But I think it's improper for the lawyers to try and insert themselves at the last minute in a process that's already been ongoing. Quotes have or responses have already been received, and I'm very concerned about doing that as a lawyer.
We can let the county administrator, if somebody needs to make a call, since legal had said that it would be, we have no choice, then I want to know whether legal had made a call.
Okay.
Handle that information, so maybe the county administrator could make that call. However it goes, I think we have the right to know.
Okay. What we'll do is this. We'll have the county administrator to make the call, but first of all, let me see if your motion carries with a second. So is there a second for Dr. Walker's motion? Is there a second? Is there a second? Motion dies for a lack of a second. So your motion dies, but we'll still complete your request of having her to make the call. Now, as it relates to Mr. Stokes' motion, Mr. Stokes has made a motion that we approve the request that has come forth, been brought in front of us today. So, as it relates to Mr. Stokes' motion,
Mr. President,
is there a
see
second?
if it's legal first. We'll make sure if it's legal. And I think the financial advisor, especially when we're talking about swap funds.
We're talking about the swap fund.
Yes, sir.
But before we talk about the swap funds, do you want to make a motion to whether or not we approve the motion of getting the insurance, or you want to make your motion contingent upon the swap fund?
I want to make the motion depending on the swap fund if it's legal. If it's legal that we can use this money, then I make the motion because we got to have insurance for employees. And all the other plays is that we go in reserve. And if you start looking at reserve, you know, even though insurance is that important, this is the only money I can identify. If somebody else can identify a part of the money, I take that suggestion. The only money we can identify is.
We can approve it and then have the county administrator as well as the financial advisor come up with what pot that it's going to come out of. But I think that we need to approve
That's right.
something.
That's
and
right.
then once we do that, then we'll have them to come back to us and give us where this money comes from. Because
That's
we
right,
really
Mr.
have to
President.
have it.
So
you make the motion. Is there a second?
I'm moving that the board of supervisors that we pay 100% for the money, the increase for insurance for our employees.
Okay. All right. It's been moved. Is there a second?
It's second, but I got a question.
Second with a question. Go ahead, please.
Discussion.
Discussion?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I have the same concern that Supervisor Stokes had on how we're going to fund this increase. However, with the rebate fund that we distributed should have been considered in this process. And also, Ms. Davis, when I discussed it with her, that I think we have money that will carry over. Is there any funds available there?
When you say carry over.
Carried over from 2013 to the 2014 budget.
Yes, you're talking about working balance?
Right.
Yes.
Because I'm still concerned about the need of the swap fund for the recommendation the President Supervisor Stokes made on last week about some of the urgent housing needs that I've been out through the county Department of Human Services sit down doing the evaluation and analysis of it. If we only got half of the requested amount, that we could probably service a tremendous amount of housing. But one of the recommendations is to consider the proposal that has been prepared for us is by Ms. Parker and Ms. Davis. The increase to the employees was like $10, and the county picked up the difference. Because the amount is more than $400,000, is it not?
Right, the amount is more. The total increase, the 13.9% premium increase, totals $797,893.68.
Okay.
700.
So we were given a figure, 400 and...
The 400, we had budgeted an increase. We anticipated an increase in insurance.
Of 440.
But the 440 is an additional, above what we had budgeted.
Let me ask Mrs. Parker, you might be able to answer this question or not. As it relates to the rebate, what was the total amount of the rebate that we voted on this morning?
$85,000.
That's all it was?
That's all.
Okay, all right.
And let you know that with this 3.9% premium increase, it included a 4.1% fee from the current act.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Stokes' motion.
So that's what took us above our.
It's $797,000.
$893.68.
That's the total increase.
All right. Okay. So what we'll do is we will now vote on approving this and having the financial advisor as well as the county administrator to look at how we're going to pay for this additional cost. But we do need to know that our employees need to have insurance as of today. So
And there are two pots that we're considering.
I understand. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes.
Abstain.
One abstention. Mrs. Davis, continue.
Mr. President,
Is there? Yes.
on this item, because it's time sensitive, do we need to give somebody some authority? Because it won't come back to us. We don't get it again until November.
Right.
And so somebody needs to be able to say, well, these is what we're going to, these are what we're going to use for this. And we just have to give some kind of authority to it.
I think what we need to do is hold the board to make sure that everyone's on board. At least we have two or three individuals involved, and everyone will make sure that they know what's going on before it happens. And I think that would be sufficient. That way you will know, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Walker will all know. So we will work on this immediately as of today, and that you will poll and make sure all of the board members are aware.
Yes.
So do we need to pass something that give y'all authority to
Well,
implement
if
it?
it sounds like the board is in favor of using the swap funds if everything aligns and is in order. Is
Well,
that what I'm
We
hearing?
can get
Yes.
partial swapping, partial something else if you want to, but we just want to do our percent.
Okay. Right.
So I so move, Mr. President, that we give the president and county administrator and financial advisor authority to implement legal can't do it that way, but okay. Rick Ross.
We're making this a lot more complicated than it is. The county administrator and the county's financial advisors, whether in-house or contract advisors, have a duty to recommend to the board how this funding increase, where it will come from, and how this will occur. Once that's done, there'll have to be a budget revision to incorporate that, whether that's, as you say, Supervisor Stokes, from swap funds totally or partially, however. So they already have the authority. They need to make their recommendation to the board, and upon that recommendation, then the board will act, make the appropriate budget revision.
So they're gonna make it today, cause we got to the end of
They don't
this.
have to identify the funds today.
We could ratify it at the next meeting.
Correct.
Okay, all right, I want to make sure that employees keep their insurance. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Davis. Continue. Thank you, Ms. Mrs. Farmer.
We also need approval to stay with the Bottrell Insurance, remain with them as our broker.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Gibson?
No. It's the Bottrell Agency.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes.
Okay. I was requesting approval to renew with our current provider for vision and dental, which is Emeritus, with a modest increase, and it is through Porter Insurance. And this is what the employees pay 100% dental and vision.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Question, Mr. President.
Question for Mr. Sellers.
The concern is the company. You can get a different dental or visual company, and I understand that this is totally different from what we just approved because the employees paying 100% of this. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. The employees pay 100%.
Is they the only one? Is this the only company?
We did get quotes from one other company, and it was a very slight difference between the two.
I didn't see that.
It was with the email.
Right, you should have gotten your email attachment that had a chart with the other company.
That's why it's important to have informational sessions so that we can put everything on the table and discuss it, and then intelligently and together arrive at a decision which we think would protect the best or uphold the best interests of the county.
Okay. Could you tell me what that second?
Yeah, with the difference in the dental plan, it was like $1 and a few cents different from the current company and the company that was offering a plan.
Are they paying 50%? Are they paying, that's
The employee,
the company, because it said at the different dentists that they had a plan for the county, where the insurance company was paying 50%, and then the insurance company go down to 25%.
it depends on if it's in the network or not. If you're in the network, the company pays more toward the billing than if the dentist or vision person is not in the network. That's where your difference comes in at.
Well, I hear you saying that, but every time we go to the dentist, we're not getting a dime back. We paying it all. And yeah, 100%. And I'm saying, what's good having this insurance? And then you ask them, and they tell you that the county had a plan where there was a better plan where we would pay, the insurance company would pay 50%, and now it's not happening.
Well, we want to also point out what is shown, the other options were 2-year rate guarantee. So you had to be locked in for a 2-year agreement as opposed to a yearly. And that was the Bottrell proposal. So that was a difference. So we really were not working with apples to apples because the Emeritus program is a 1-year proposal and the other programs were a 2-year proposal, which allows them to come down slightly. So that's what was presented.
Okay. All right. What's the pleasure of the board as it relates to this request? It's been moved. Is there a second? Is there a second? I'll second it. It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor of? Opposed to? Motion passes. Continue, please. Thank you very much. Mrs. Davis, continue.
I believe we have to also put the agent of record.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I do need approval to stay with the agent of record, which was Porter Insurance.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board? It's been moved, and is there a second? I'll second. It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor of? Opposed to? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Mrs. Davis, continue.
Thank you. The next item on your agenda, we have Mr. Ray Ingram, Interim Director of Central Repair.